Here is an illustrated summary of the news. It'll be followed by the latest film of events and happenings at home and abroad.
2011, what a year it has been. A year when the biggest issue of the 20th century came back to haunt us. Central control versus power to the desktop. We thought the PC meant the end of the mainframe, but now cloud computing has put thin clients back into people's hands in the form of smartphones, and those same smartphones are helping to topple governments. And with Steve Jobs gone, who are the media going to idolize now? Without Jobs, we would have had no iPods and no iPhones, but without Dennis Ritchie, who also died recently, the man who invented C, the man who invented Unix, we would have had no computers to use at all, and that meant no virtualization, no cloud computing, possibly no World Wide Web. These have all been burning issues at NetEvents 2011, with virtualization and the cloud as major themes. From HP's Steve Deitch warning against too much reliance on cloud cost savings, to our head-to-head challenge for the key players to differentiate their cloud solutions. From Tata's reassessment of the cloud behind the cloud, to VMware's Joe Baguley predicting that the future desktop OS would be pulled apart as its hardware components migrated to the cloud. Other big themes have included LTE's role in mobile innovation, network automation, innovative opportunities for service providers, the provider opportunities of video content delivery, and the increasing role of Ethernet. As always, security played a major role, with Nirzuk's call for next-generation firewalls, plus more creative innovation to match the bad boy hackers head on. So many visions, so many technologies, so many predictions. What's a poor CIO to make of it all? Meet Simon Chua, CIO of a major manufacturer based in Singapore and desperately seeking guidance, a roadmap through the jungle of solutions. Who better to advise him than Brocade's Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer John McHugh, counted among Network World's top 50 most powerful people in networking. Among the most popular and quoted speakers at NetEvents, we invite John McHugh to take the stage and tell us about the changing role of IT and its impact on the CIO, in particular the CIO of a large company operating in Asia today. Thank you very much, and a very big welcome please for John McHugh.
Frankly, of all of the C-level individuals, the CIO has probably the most strategic role. I call it being the piloting the organizations through the cloud. As CIOs enter 2012, the first point that we have to kind of grasp and deal with is that they will be thinking about risk. In fact, they will be very cautious in where they spend their money, and the heightened level of return on investment in the IT industry will continue to increase. As you can see from this quote of Forrester, we still have a world where most CIOs wait until the business strategy for their organization is set to set their IT strategy. In a world where the IT transformation is probably the most important change in business models happening, this is the wrong order. CIOs have got to be part of the strategic planning process for the business based on opportunities such as the cloud, such as evolving data centers. A survey done by Gartner talked about what were the top business priorities, right? And these are the things that CIOs need to be mapping, because increasingly they're more business related than technology related. It's not how am I going to roll all the desktop PCs of the company. It's how do I attract and retain customers? How do I become part of the engine that does demand generation and customer intelligence for my company? How do we grow the company? Expanding into new markets and geographies. How do I make my company more agile? Because what the cloud does stand for is agility, both financial and infrastructure agility. Our survey of Frost & Sullivan in Asia Pacific CIOs found that in the next 6 months, a full third of CIOs believe they will be deploying a fabric architecture in their data center. Maybe not in production, but certainly in trials. And you can add another 25% to that number. So over 50% will be deploying fabrics in their data center in the next 12 months. This is one of the more fundamental technical evolutions that's happening in this industry, certainly in my experience here for the last 20, 25 years. We've also been hearing that the answer to these problems and how to evolve your IT ecosystem is what's referred to kind of as converged infrastructures or vertically integrated stacks, pieces of a puzzle that fit together only one way. You know, we went the last 25 years in IT moving to more interoperability, more standards, more multi-vendor choices for customers. I don't think the cloud, with its values around flexibility, choice, and agility, is going to end up being a forcing function for us to move backwards. This is the other thing that the cloud's all about. We're going, as enterprises and CIOs need to recognize as they're going from building power plants to buying electricity as a service. IT's been one of the more capital elements, in fact, one of the few left parts of most organizations, which is largely capital driven and not OpEx driven. That's going to change over the next decade. CIOs, once again, need to recognize that it's the competitive pressure that's going to drive them forward. From a technology priority, once again, this is the Gartner research, came back and said, you know, it's about cloud computing, it's about IT management, mobile technologies, and virtualization. You know, these are the hot topics that are mixed together in CIOs, and it's important for them to sort them out. You know, what's interesting is, while cloud computing is the top one, this one is a necessary enabler to it. You don't start there and work your way down, even though that's what they're most concerned about. You've got to recognize the right ordering, thoughtfully and strategically plan your moves forward. The fact of the matter is, most CIOs aren't at this point yet. You know, most CIOs are still thinking about what they need to do just to support the tactics and the ongoing operations that they've been asked to execute to. They're not getting themselves into that position of setting a mandate and direction, and that really is the ultimate challenge that they have in front of them.
The full transcript of John McHugh's important keynote speech as well as his fact-filled presentation set are available free now on the NetEvents website.